and the guards for the murders they committed. Oh, great, blanket amnesty. Well, that was the lotto bonanza for them. Oh, they wanted to get everything and more. Then the second one was they were going to dismiss all the charges against the rest of the Attica brothers. Bam, they dismissed those charges. In my case, I was supposed to go before New York State Parole Board, and on the strength of a governor's recommendation, it's supposed to be released. Well, when I went there, there was the New York State Police, the Guards Union, all across the country had petitioned and threatened to boycott if I was released. New York State Senator Ralph Marino, and Dale Volcker petitioned the head of New York State Parole to not release me on the threat that he would not be confirmed for his $56,000 a year post. And subsequently, for the first time in the history of New York, I was given 2 more years on the strength of a governor's recommendation for release, executive clemency. And it wasn't an all-out pardon. It was a clemency. And so I got 2 more years, and I was called the only man convicted for Attica, the scapegoat of Attica, a 19-year-old Mohawk kid. Turned a man in prison, all the years in prison. Fighting for my life. Now, what does that got to do with Rudy Giuliani? Look at this guy. I like that. This guy keeps laughing. He knows something there. This brother over here knows something. You know it, don't you? You know the history. Okay. Well, for you that don't know, in 1979, when I finally got out of prison, William Kunstler, who was my lawyer then, Ramsey Clark was my appeal lawyer, the former U.S. Attorney General of the United States, Elizabeth Bink and Danny Myers, and the whole crew from New York all had this gathering in uptown on 72nd Street and West Avenue in New York at a brownstone building. There was a woman by the name of Annette Rubenstein that put on this wine and cheese to put out a few bucks for me when I got out to re-enter into New York. So we have the party there. The house belonged to a woman named Ruth Messenger, who was a councilwoman from the Bronx in New York. She wasn't there that night. She was down in Costa Rica doing whatever. Whatever politicians do better on their vacation. That's where she was. But her roommate had the party there. Well, now, and that was reported in the Village Voice. So now the Village Voice, years later, Rudy Giuliani, in 1997, is up for re-election. Ruth Messenger is running against him. So all of a sudden, Giuliani's people start trying to dig up dirt on her. They get this one little article that a party was conducted for me, quote unquote, a cop killer, at her place in 1997. So, all of a sudden, it's all over the news, all over the world, all over the world. Every major newspaper in New York, around the world, and every major TV station. So, they get this, CBS from the U.S. gets a hold of a reporter from Surrey, or from Vancouver, who was a part of the CBC National News, and asked him to do an interview with me about what I felt about Rudy Giuliani. Well, when they come to interview me, I agreed to the interview. So he says, well, Mr. Spinner's guy, he says, what do you, now that, you know, you're known around the world here for this, that you're right in the middle of this re-election bid of Rudy Giuliani's in New York, a second bid. He said, well, how do you feel about that, being at the center of this? What are the allegations? I said, well, you know what? I don't remember Miss Messenger being there. Truthfully. I can't say that. I'm sure she wasn't there. But anyways, the only thing I can say is, quite candidly, is that Rudy Giuliani is the scum of the earth. He's a scumbag opportunist. He's the filthiest politician that ever walked two legs. And as far as I'm concerned, Rudy Giuliani can kiss my ass. Well, I'm sorry if I've offended anybody by what the word ass. But listen, that was a cheap trick. Oh, that was a cheap ploy. But what I did say is this. I said, but Rudy Giuliani, I said, you know what? I said, one day this is going to come to bite you in the butt. I said, somehow, someday, some way, I'm going to turn this around, and you will be at the other end of some kind of attack. And now, that brings us to today. All right, and September the 11th, I find out, and I wrote this in a letter recently to Hugo Chavez, who also believes 9/11 was an inside job. He stated very candidly on CNN. And again, I suggested to Brother Hugo Chavez, I said, look, you know what I mean? There's one thing of saying it's an inside job, but it's another thing to prove the facts. You got to give the people the facts, otherwise you're just out there pontificating and sounding like a kook. Well, there ain't no kook here, believe me. So Rudy Giuliani, on that day, when he was then going to run as President of the United States, Rudy Giuliani was trying to get the support of the guards, of the firefighters union. So in my investigation about Rudy Giuliani's activities there, because I knew that he was also, when he was the district attorney of the Southern District of New York, he also handled the BCCI investigations. And we know all the corruption involved in that. If you don't, check it out. So then, but then Rudy Giuliani is now running for president of the United States. He's trying to get an endorsement, and then all of a sudden they say, hell no, we aren't endorsing Rudy Giuliani. I said, whoa, why? I started looking, what's up with this? I'm swearing, now this is Mr. Wonderful, the man of the year, Time magazine. I said, whoa, I said, this Mr. Man of the Year is going to become mine, Mr. Criminal of the Century. Mr. War Criminal of the Century. Because I know in my heart Giuliani has something to do with 9/11. Because I know it wasn't accidental that he also had the Office of Emergency Management on the 23rd floor of the WTC, paying Larry Silverstein $16 million a year for rent, not to buy the place, but for rent. And here's this guy, and here's the firefighters saying that he's a scum. They use that word. No, we will not support this scum. And why? Because they said that when Giuliani, they said Giuliani knew 20 minutes in advance from the Office of Emergency Management that those towers were going down. How the hell did he know? How did he know? Someone told him. Well, he knew 20 minutes in advance, but he didn't tell nobody else. Get out of the buildings, they're going down. Well, he knew somebody was going to blow them buildings, and they were coming down. So he doesn't tell them, and he has the firefighters, they lose 300 of their brothers and sisters that day. And they said, on top of that, Rudy Giuliani with FEMA that I told you I saw the day before, are sitting over there, they put up police lines, right? They put up police lines, and they're trying to get everybody out there, trying to save as many lives as possible. People are dying, they're taking in